7 things men wish women knew. It's really important for us to understand each other. Men are different from women, women are different from men, and that is a beautiful thing. However, problems can arise when we fundamentally misunderstand each other. So the more insight, the more awareness we can get into each other, the more harmonious our relationships will be. I'm Kevin Anthony with Magnetize Your Man, and I am a certified sexologist, NLP practitioner, and sex, love, and relationship coach. And for over 10 years, I have been helping men, women, and couples have the relationship of their dreams and the best sex of their lives. Okay, the number one thing that men wish women knew is we are far more simple than you think. One of the biggest issues I see is that women often will look at a man and not believe something he does or something he says because it just seems too simple. And there's no way in their mind it could be that simple. So therefore, he must not be telling the truth, or he's not being honest, or he's unaware, or whatever it is. And all these stories will start to be created in the mind. So one of the things that we as men wish that you knew is that a lot of the time we really are that simple. We generally are that straightforward. We generally tend to approach things in a very straightforward manner. So there's no need to create all kinds of complicated stories in your head about it. And of course, if you are doing that and you're unsure, you can always just ask us. But the basic idea here is that don't overcomplicate things. Men are actually significantly more simple than you think we are. Okay, the number 2 thing that men wish women knew is that we mean what we say. Now, of course, there are some exceptions to that. Sometimes people, when they are hurt, will say things they don't mean. You see that reflected in just about every sitcom or rom-com you've ever watched, because there'd be no TV show or movie if people didn't say things they didn't mean and cause all kinds of chaos. However, outside of that, in general, as men, we mean what we say. Now, that seems rather simple, but one of the things that you'll often see is a man will make a simple statement and then a woman will create all kinds of story or interpretation around what it is that he meant. Now, from our point of view as a man, we're sitting over here going, I don't get it. I said it as clearly as I could possibly say it. Like, what I said is what I meant. So as men, we don't tend to give small little amount of words, but really behind it is a whole ton of other meaning. That's just not the way that we work. And that is the way that some women work. And so because that's the way some women work, they assume that, well, that must be the way men work as well. And the reality is, it is not. We say what we mean. If we didn't say it, we probably didn't intend to say it. And if we did say it, that's what we meant to say. The third thing that we wish women knew was that most of the time we demonstrate our love for you through our actions. Now, I'm not saying that's good enough, because honestly, I think as men, we need to do a better job of stepping up and using our words. However, know that if we're not using our words, it doesn't necessarily mean that we don't love you or we don't care or it's not important to us, because we will often demonstrate through our actions. Because women like to hear words so often, they will often overlook the actions and focus on the fact that they didn't get the words that they were looking for. So it's really important when interacting with a man and looking for, does he really love me? How does he show that he loves me? That you listen for the words, but that you also look for the actions. How is he showing up day to day? What are the little things every day or every other day that he is doing that actually demonstrate the fact that he does indeed love you, care about you, and you are important? All right, the number 4 thing that men wish women knew is that it's not that we don't care. It's that often we are unaware. What do I mean by that? Well, a lot of times women will be like, well, you didn't do this, so you obviously don't care about that. Or how come you didn't blah, blah, blah? Or how come you didn't know, that I was feeling this way? And the reality is from the man's point of view, a lot of times we feel blindsided by that stuff. We're like, we were just walking down the road all happy and we just got hit by a bus. We don't even know where the bus came from, right? So a lot of times it's really because we are unaware of what's happening. Now, sometimes that's our own fault for simply not having enough awareness. But sometimes it's also because you as the woman are not communicating your needs and your wants to us, or you're communicating them in a way that you think is effective communication, but is actually not effective communication. Of course, you've heard many, many times well, he should just know. Well, of course he should know that, right? How many times have you said that, or have you heard other women say that? Well, we as men, believe it or not, shocking, we're not mind readers. And no, we don't just know, and we shouldn't just know. Yes, we should have a high level of awareness. Yes, we should be paying attention. But there are times, and there's going to be quite a few of them, that unless you actually speak up and let us know what's going on for you, we're just not going to know. So what we want you to know as men is, most of the time, it's not that we don't love you. It's not that we don't care. It's not that you're unimportant. It's that we may simply be unaware of what it is you are needing or wanting. And that if you could do a better job of communicating those needs and wants to us, we would have more awareness and we would be able to help you with those needs and wants a whole lot better. Okay, the number 5 thing that men wish women knew is that generally speaking, we really do value committed, long-term relationships. Now, we get a bad rap all the time as men is, oh, we just want to play around. We all just want to be playboys. We want to have as much sex as we can get. And that's not necessarily true. Of course, there are always some men out there who that's their goal, that's their MO. They're the swingers or the pickup artist types. But in general, as men, we do prefer long-term committed relationships. So if we are not stepping up and committing to a relationship, you have to ask yourself, why is that? Now, some men will commit to relationships even when the relationship isn't really where they want it because they feel pressure. It's been X amount of years or, this, that, or the other thing. But a man who really knows his value and his worth is not going to commit to a relationship until it meets some minimum requirements. So again, if he's not committing to you, if he's a good man and he's not committing to you, you really have to ask yourself why. What is missing from this relationship that is holding him back? Because in general, we do really value long-term committed relationships. All right, the number 6 thing that men wish women knew is that, we do ourselves also have insecurities about our bodies, especially as we get older. So some things we may not be particularly happy about. The difference really is we don't tend to speak up about it. So, if a man, let's say, wants a woman to get into a certain position during sex, a woman will often say, oh, I don't want to, I don't like that position, whatever. And, if pushed a little bit about why, she'll often say, well, I don't like the way my butt looks in that position, or the way my stomach looks, or the way my breasts look. So she'll speak up about it. But men often won't really share their insecurities, but do know that men do have insecurities about their bodies as well. And number 7, the last one on the list, somewhat similar to number 6, but that is, men have a lot of insecurity around their sexual performance. This is something that a lot of women don't really get. They think that, sex is easy for men, right? They just get an erection and they can stick it in anything they want and they don't really care and, piece of cake. But that's really not true. That's maybe true for some men, but I work with a lot of men, and I work with a lot of men specifically around sexual performance. And I can tell you that one of the biggest issues men have these days is performance anxiety. So anxiety around their ability to get an erection, their ability to keep the erection, their ability to last long enough without ejaculating, their ability to give their woman an orgasm. All of these things weigh very heavily on men. And the fact that they are having that anxiety can actually create the very things that they're anxious about. So the more anxiety they have, the harder time they'll have achieving an erection, the harder time they'll have lasting long enough, right? So be gentle sometimes with your man, especially in the beginning. It's a new relationship. You're just starting to have sex for the first time. There can be a tremendous amount of anxiety and pressure on a man to really step up and perform. We are really seeing this a lot lot with the younger generations. So the younger generations that are coming into sexual maturity and are really starting to date and become sexually active are seeing huge problems with the anxiety around performance and the actual physical performance itself. So be gentle with your man. Be aware that that's going on and that he might need a little time to warm up to you and get his sexual performance up to par.